In this video, he's going to be teaching 2 new builds guaranteed to give us MMR with a hero that I love to play and a hero that I don't play yet, but maybe can learn to play. Let's check it out.
Everybody, today's meta update video is going to be talking about my 2 favorite heroes that I've been playing right now, some newish builds that I've come up with, and why they're successful. And I'm going to give you a quick how to do for the laning phase, the mid game, as well as how these heroes carry the game. So hopefully you guys can apply this yourself. Let's go ahead and get into it.
This is Banana Slam Jama. I'm going to link the video in the description as well if you watch this later on YouTube.
So, our first hero is one of my favorites, Ursa. Now, this is a hero that
This is my most played hero, Ursa. Generally, he plays Blink BKB with Basher, but he's going to teach a new build that I'm super excited to try out. Let's check it out.
I feel like has struggled a bit with the traditional build of like Blink, Basher, BKB, because they nerfed the stun duration on Basher, they nerfed BKB, and they've buffed Nullifier, which purges your overpower, and it just feels really bad to play this hero in that circumstance. It also feels like Battle Fury heroes are a bit hard to pull off, but don't you guys fret, because I have found a new build that has worked wonders for me in the 3 games I've played it. It's won all 3 games, and it's felt really powerful. That's like the biggest part about this. It's felt powerful. So let's go ahead and break the build down. Early game, mid game, late game. So in this specific game, I had a 5-position sniper who wasn't even in lane for the first bit, and he ended up
Jesus. Position 5 sniper. Okay. It's over. It's lost.
being, spoiler alert, completely useless as I'm getting 1v2'd and he ends up dying a few times in lane. But don't you guys fret, because after the early items, if you're having a bit of a tough lane, you can just do the old rush ring of health that we used to see on Ursa. Now
Wait.
you may be saying BSJ, but that doesn't build into Battle Fury anymore. That kind of sucks. Well, spoiler alert, you can build a vanguard off of this. So the only time that I go this part of the build is if I'm
That's crazy, because before Battle Fury was built from Ring of Health, and I found Ursa a lot easier, and now the Cornucopia build-up is so much worse for him, because it comes a lot later, it's harder to get there, and you'll already be too low health by then, especially against Pango Rubik. Rubik, very hard laner to go up against. Another hard one, Venomancer. You're going to have not enough health, so the much cheaper ring, it's even cheaper than before the Ring of Health now, but it's no longer part of a build-up that matters. Recently I wondered, is it okay to go Vanguard on Ursa? Now, if I had been a real Giga Chat, I would just try it out. But I'm still kind of, sometimes I'm confident, sometimes I'm afraid to experiment, especially because unranked is too easy and ranked is sometimes too unforgiving. People get angry if you try out something that you think could work. It's different than a one-on-one game. So I hadn't had the guts to try out Ursa Vanguard, even though I felt it would really feel a niche. Because Ursa can kind of be a lane dominator if you have enough health sustain. When you hit people with overpower and fury swipes, it's great. But Vanguard would be considered an unacceptable delay usually, because you're I don't know, like you're going to be too late with Battle Fury or whatever. But by getting it, maybe you can stay in lane more, get more lane creeps, which give more gold, and then survive better, and maybe even kill more enemy heroes, which gets you the gold needed to still get to Battle Fury at the right time. Kind of the equivalent of buying Orb of Venom or Orb of Corrosion, which, to be fair, I had been trying a couple of weeks ago and actually got me good results, and then I just stopped for no reason and went straight back to raw Battle Fury after face boots. So let's see how this works out with Vanguard.
having a tough lane. If I'm having a pretty good lane, I'd like to save up for the Cornucopia. It's just hard to get 1200 gold in the laning phase. Ideally, I would go treads into Cornucopia towards the Battle Fury. So, why are you willing to build Vanguard on Ursa, BSJ, if you said Basher is nerfed? You don't want to go Abyssal, right? Right, guys. So as long as Vanguard is disassemblable into an Octarine core, yes, you heard me right, an Octarine core, this is a viable part of the build. If you are having a tough lane, and by the time you watch this video, Vanguard is no longer disassemblable, don't be afraid to still get that ring of health, because it goes towards that Octarine core, but then you're just using it as like a way to sustain through the early game. Why I like Ursa for a Vanguard hero is because Fury Swipes actually makes him a threat, very similar to how Anti-Mage's Mana Burn makes him a threat, and he still farms pretty fast with just treads and a Vanguard, and you still go back into a Battle Fury later. So laning stages Ursa, very standard stuff, but if you're having a tough one, you can go for a Vanguard. So what I like so much about this game particularly is that my team lost both of the other lanes
Yeah, I love that too when that happens. I love it. So he is going for the treads, not the face boots. You're slightly slower at traveling between camps, but you get that bonus attack speed that makes you slightly less reliant on Fury swipes sometimes.
Atrociously. As you can see,
I'm having a
really good game. I'm 1-0. We're down 7 kills and 2,000 gold at 13 minutes. But this is where the build gets a bit spicy. So we're going into the Battle Fury as per usual. Nothing different so far. After the Battle Fury, though, if you're having a very good game, you would like to go Blink. The reason why is even though they've nerfed the Basher and stuff, Blink Dagger is still the best item for Ursa if he's free farming, because you can blink from camp to camp and he kills the camps really fast with Overpower plus Battle Fury. And it allows you to participate in fights if you're having a really good game. But as you can see, this game's kind of a nightmare. And if the game is not a really good game, I now go, you heard me right, Yasha into either Manta or SNY. So bear with me. We hate BKB. BKB, shit item.
Okay. BSJ keeps teaching me and others to go SNY, and Twitch chat keeps telling me, I don't know how YouTube chat is, by the way, but Twitch chat keeps telling me SNY is a bad item on everyone. And I don't agree, but it keeps coming back. Never go SNY, right? Even if you're against Duel and Axe Call and Magnus RP, don't go SNY. Yeah, I like it. I think it has a lot of good utility on heroes like Bloodseeker, Ursa.
Why? Because it got nerfed so many times. And what this entire build's going to allow you to do is play without a BKB, at least until very later on in the game. So the times that I go Manta, I treat it like Jug. I use his Manta as a way to enrage.
SNY is the best item ever until you die to the fight where you should have actually had a BKB. I love SNY as long as it's not too late. Right. SNY is a good all-round item. There are better items that's good for its price. I've received some live coaching before from Immortal Faith, the 8,000 MMR coach to pro teams. And I was playing Ursa. And he's very creative and different thinking. And we got to a moment where he told me to sell face boots on Ursa. I was maxed out on other things. I had like Blink, Basher, BKB, face boots, and maybe one or two other things. And he was like, sell your face boots and build SNY for the final push into their base. You'll end the game with it, trust me. And it was true. And he's like, yeah, SNY gives you a bit of movement speed. You don't have face boots anymore, but now you got 6 quality items. It fits in with your net worth now. Like, that kind of decision is sure to get you flamed on Twitch chat. But it's cool to have that kind of comfort in your decision making, if that's possible. Great to see you streaming on YouTube. Yo, thank you, Andre Lange, for the 9 months membership.
Rage, okay? The Manta illusions don't do anything. They don't Fury swipes. It's just for the sake of being able to use Enrage. So in this specific game, I was against a Orchid from Storm. So if they have a reliable silence, like a Death Prophet and a Storm with an Orchid, then I go for the Manta. If not, SNY is strictly better because the Manta illusions for Ursa don't do much, and I should have no problem using my Treads, Battle Fury, Manta, Storm with an Orchid. Then I go to don't do much, and I should have no problem using my ultimate as a defensive mechanism. This is when we go back into the Octarine Core, or the Sanjin Yasha. Remember, the items you're gonna have, I know I haven't broken this down yet, they're gonna be Treads, Battle Fury, Manta or SNY, Octarine Core, and a Blink. The Blink comes in there somewhere. It really comes down to when you think you're strong enough to just blink in because you're having a really good game, or you feel like you need somebody on your team to blink in. In that case, you can go Blink. But ideally, like, I would rather play Ursa without one if possible, because this new style of Ursa doesn't really rely on
Grubby,
bursting people
smiley
near.
Face. What was your gamer tag when you played Rune?
Rune? I never played Rune online. Do you mean Rune, the game where it's a hack and slash? Like a hack and slash game, very old game? I never played that online, just on LAN. Yeah, I didn't play that online, so you wouldn't have seen me.
Nearly as much as the old one. So why Octarine Core BSJ? Sell it to me. So before I show you a late game team fight, I want you to look at Ursa's skills. He has 3 activatable skills, and If you combine all of this with the shard, which is absolutely essential, you want the shard to come out right around the time that you get your Octarine core. If you look at his level 20 talent and his level 15 talent, suddenly we're seeing a story here. Urshock applies 2 Fury Swipes, which makes you do an extra 74 damage per hit, by the way. Urshock cooldown by 2 seconds, plus Octarine core. We are suddenly looking at a 4.5 second Urshock cooldown and a 1.5 second enrage. This is how the build scales. You do damage because you're Urshocking people. Off cooldown, right? Your Urshock is building up your Fury Swipes. You take the Fury Swipes reset time. Suddenly, like these.
I've been taking the Fury Swipes damage sometimes, I believe. When really, when you don't have Octarine, this is still really good. In theory, this is even better when you don't have Octarine. The right side talent, -2 Earthshock. Because Octarine gives you CDR, percentage based. This makes your total cooldown shorter. So Octarine does less to Earthshock when you pick this. So in theory, if you don't have Octarine, you need this even more. If you want to continually apply Enrage via your shard, to apply Fury Swipes on your opponent, to slow them, and to gain mobility. So I actually feel a little embarrassed that I have not been taking this talent because I play on autopilot with my skill choices often. This is really nice. And with Octarine, you make it such a short cooldown that you have R and Q that you're almost always untouchable. Status resistance 50 and damage resistance 80. If you add Spell Prism, neutral talent, or if you add Aghanim's Scepter, where your ult becomes 18 instead of 30 seconds, you're pretty much always invincible, which makes you a tank, and you're still a relevant damage dealer. And now you're not as much of a glass cannon that has to blink in, kill someone with bash, and now you need to run away and wait another 9 or 11 seconds before you can fight again.
These people are not purging it. It's literally Slark with Essence Shift and Ag's Pounce. You don't even have to hit them very often because eventually you will hit them with 6 hits of Overpower. They're probably got like 4 or 6 Fury Swipes on them already, and they just die. Let's go ahead and quickly watch a team fight. So I know at this point we're up by 15k, but bear with me. I only went Ags as an experiment in this game. Normally this would have either been a Blink Dagger or another item like Abyssal that gives me lockdown, just something that isn't an Ags. I actually tried the Ags. It just didn't feel very useful because you've already got a lot of like utility items that don't really do damage.
Yeah, the component of Ags that gives you the chance to use Enrage when you're stunned is very situational. It's like good against Chronosphere from Faceless Void. It does not work against Silence, but that's why he has Manta. If you're stunned and silenced, you can't use it at all, right? But it does give you cooldown from 30 to 18, so it's quite nice. But is it worth 4,200 gold? Nice. When that could have been an MKB or a Blink Dagger. Perhaps not.
So like an MKB, Abyssal, Swift Blink, something like this instead of the Ags. But as you're going to see...
why YouTube today, Twitch getting horrible for streamers, taking a hit on numbers. Yeah, fewer viewers is understandable when you're on a platform that you're not usually streaming on. But it's a process, you know. It will either go up or it won't. We'll see. I enjoy it anyway, and the support has been incredible today.
I can spam my Urshock while I'm sieging. You're actually a really good sieger. And they're going to cast a ton of spells on me, and even though my ulti was on cooldown for a bit, they're going to keep going. Pugna's healing me, and I am just super tanky, and my Urshock also applies through BKB.
He fought through Rupture the whole fight, by the way.
So maybe the slow doesn't, but the Fury Swipes get applied. So people try to kill you, you have non-stop Enrage going for the entire duration of the fight, and eventually the enemy gets worn down and they simply can't kill you. Now if this is not of a sell, Now if this does not sell it to you, let's quickly rewind to when I was sieging base. This is something that Ursa's always struggled with.
Are there going to be more frequent YouTube streams? Yes. Very frequent. This is no longer a test run. My test run streams have been the last few months, couple of times. But now I'm going to commit to YouTube. I'm going to commit to YouTube without letting go most of my commitment to Twitch. I won't be trying kick at this time, Alias Fighter.
Which was ending the game. And I can just keep spamming all of my spells, my Overpower as well as my Urshock, just for damage reduction. They try to go on me, I had an Urshock going, 80% damage reduction and status resistance, 50% status resistance. Eventually, they just get worn down. And the beauty of this Ursa build is that you never go on them unless they go on you. And at that point, you're killing them. Now, on to our next hero, Ursa. I'm going to be spamming this build. I think it's absolutely busted. It's specifically good when the opponent has a lot of abilities that are only countered by status resistance. Legion Commander Duel, Doom, just Spirit Breaker and his lockdown. This is especially good in this patch because we're seeing a lot of these heroes, and they rely on basically making it so you can't do anything as a carry. These anti-carries, I feel like, are no longer so powerful against a build like this. So next up, my second favorite hero of the patch.
All right, that's really cool. I'm going to stop it here and we'll watch the other video next time. I want to be trying this out. I think this is really cool. Ursa is one of my favorites. The couple of times where I did try Octarine Ags, in my head it was experimental, but it felt so good. And I think at my MMR, BSJ is like 9,000 MMR. My MMR, 4,000. I think it's going to be great because there are more mistakes by me and everybody else. So having that catching net of non-stop resistance is going to be perhaps better than trying to build for a perfect coordinated team fight where we do not overstay and linger. So I'm excited to try it out. I'm afraid that I'm going to have late Battle Fury because my CS and my lane control is not going to be as good as, BSJ. Maybe I will not have good enough lane control, but maybe it'll just feel good and it'll work more often than not. We'll see. I'm excited to try it out. You'll see it next video. Thanks for watching. Sub to the Grubby Plays.